What's up, guys? This is Legend, and today is part 3, episode 1 out of 4. I'm going to show you how to night prep before you trade. I'm going to show you what you need to do and what you should expect on your morning trade before the market opens. I'm going to show you what to look out for midday because the New York, they come in usually around 12. That's when you get a really good amount of people. Let me show you something. And on episode 3, I'm going to show you what happens when you trade in the late hours, closing hours, the power hour. You want to hear this. All right, guys, first thing you need to do is you need to see if there's any history index of where you are. So, like right now, we're in midterm elections for the Democratic Party. Guess what? There's a chart. Look, from 1931 and present, the SP 500 index, history of what it usually does. Now, in this time of year, it's just weird. But usually in the midterm election years for the Democratic Party, we usually have this strong pullback all the way until the beginning of October. And then this bull rally just comes and kicks us in all the way until January. But usually on normal years in the gray above, we usually get the spike in the bull rally of the market all the way until September, and we have a pullback. And then usually mid-October, we have a run. But there's something on the street, on the street that people are talking about that is kind of like scaring people. Look at this. This is 2008. Kind of crazy. Now, it's at a 91% as the same layout as 2008. And that's why people are freaking out. We're either going to get this big bounce up or we're going to get this big bounce down. And that's what a lot of people are freaking out about. Because if this 2008 scenario happens, expect, job losses. I was in, I think, fourth grade when the 2008 happened. And man, my parents lost their jobs, worst time of the year. But hopefully this doesn't happen. But as you trade, like I said, prep the night before, keep this in your mind. Here's another big one, earnings. Now, always check when your earnings are coming up. We usually have earnings, throughout the year that you need to keep up on. Like today, it's going to start October 10th, start on Tuesday, and it's going to run until Friday. But you always need to check your list of what earnings. Look on Friday. Look at all those banks. Now, what's going to happen if those banks have bad earnings? Little things like that can give you a hint. That's why you always want to check, just to make sure earnings season, you're prepared for it. The VIX is hitting new highs, 35. See, this blue line right here is usually when we're extreme fear. And, the market usually is people, is usually pulling back, but when we're at extreme fears, the VIX around 35, you know, that's probably a good sign that we're going to find a bottom soon. Usually when we find a bottom, the VIX will jump up to about 45 just for like one day. That means there's extreme fear in the market. And days like that, that's what you need to check up on the night before. See where the VIX is. Also, here's a big one, the dollar and bonds. Right now on the bonds, we're coming at this, this area where we usually are sitting. We keep on getting rejected from here. So, when you run your bonds, you always want to see where we're getting pushback. We have the FOMC meeting coming up, and this is probably going to affect bonds. I'm going to make a video about bonds. Check it out. I know it's a little bit different than the VIX and the dollar. So do a little bit more research. But come back to me. Like I said in my last video, the dollar, it has like a support area. You know, go back and look at my last videos. I explained the dollar a bit more, but this dollar is bouncing in between right now and hitting support. Now we're hitting the top of support. You know, soon we're gonna get a pullback. Usually the dollar will bounce a couple times before the dollar hits, it matches the bottom of the Nas. And in between that, the dollar will have a good pullback for 2 or 3 days. If you can time that perfect, you know, spend a couple months and learn the dollar, learn how it trades. If you can watch for that right moment on the dollar, you can hit those special, like, points where, you can score an extra 20% on your gains. So always check on your dollar, the night before, see where it's at. Like I said, check up on your stocks. Tesla, the Twitter deal, hitting Musk hard. Look at this drop. It's insane. But we are coming down to where it's hitting major support. Major support like this can help turn around the stock. And like I said, there's 36 stocks in QQQ. These big ones together control it. Here's another big one hitting support. This is why you check every night. NVDA hitting major support. Look at that. Right across the line. Right across the page. Hitting support. Look at that. Microsoft too, hitting support. Coming up to that 200, that support level, that blue line. Every big stock has a blue line where it's always bounced. If you can go back and check on those big stocks, you know, Microsoft has one and it's coming up to that blue line. That is major support across the board. Now, when you have all these stocks coming up to a support, you're going to get a bounce sooner or later. And like I said, that's when you can kind of tell to want to, to get into TQQQ or SQQQ. If we're coming down to the bottom, you don't have to worry about hitting it perfect. But if you can find hints to show you that, that it's right around the corner, that's why I love trading SQQQ and TQQQ. We hit a major support line and a gap. The bottom gap right there has been filled. So let's go ahead and take it off the screen. Now we have one more gap above us. If you don't know what gaps are, I'm going to make a video on it. Go check it out. But gaps are spots that we have to hit. Now, since we came down and hit that gap, now we have a gap above us. If we could pull back to that red box down there, where that's our major support, I do see us hitting there eventually. Maybe not now, but we could get this. If the dollar pulls back, we could get a small bull run before the big drop. I really think we're on wave 5. If you don't know what wave we're on, go back and look at my videos. But major support right now. Like I said, the US 500 hitting major support. What is Bitcoin doing? Nothing much. It has like been going sideways. Now, like I said, if we do have a 2008 scenario, remember, like in my last videos, Bitcoin follows the Nasdaq. Okay, however the market does, Bitcoin's going to do. So say if we get that 2008 crash, right, and we drop, I could see Bitcoin hitting 13, 12,000 easy. Now, if you go in the past of Bitcoin, those big drops, if we get another one, we will go down to 12K. Now, it's coming, this is what you do. You check on the history of your stocks the night before. Now, we're done here. This is what you need to do. So come in the morning, just check the next video. I'm going to show you what it's like to trade 10 minutes before the stock market opens and then trade about 10 minutes afterwards. I'm going to show you why it's super important to check your events, like the FOMC meeting tomorrow. Let me show you how effective how that affects stocks, because not a lot of people understand why the market goes up or down. Let me show you what a really big event like inflation reports. Let me show you what it does to the market. You can either use that for your advantage on SQQQ or TQQQ. But thanks, guys. I'm Legend. Come check me out. Let's make some money.